All right, welcome back, traders, to a weekly Forex cast. All right, as always, starting with the dollar index. Last week we saw a lot of volume come in. The dollar has been bearish, really from this top. It had a big correction. All right, and we saw yen gain a lot of strength with that. All right, so we can see, looking at this on a monthly, from this low, price has been moving in this uptrend from that low, but it's a bigger correction. Now, if we look to the left, we do have a major level of supply here. All right, so it's still possible because if we see where dollar is currently at, we're now resting at a key level of structure, a previous level of supply or resistance structure. All right, so this is a break or bounce type level where price either can hold around here and bounce, or it can continue to drop further. Okay, so looking at how last week closed, it did close bearish. All right, if we break this down, or looking at the weekly, actually, that was the monthly. Looking at the weekly here, we see we do got a bearish engulfing. All right, because first price printed like this shooting star, this pin bar rejection, basically retesting structure here. All right, at the retest of that structure there, we had this rejection. All right, and then now we see price sold off last week as well, or this past trading week. All right, so now with this bearish engulfing, we could possibly see price drop a little further. But it's interesting because at this level, price could hold, or price could give some type of corrective bounce. Looking to the left, seeing that this was a major level of demand. All right, but it still has some room that it could possibly pull up some and possibly give us another wave down before that happens. So I'm going to be watching this week. This week we do have PPI, I believe, with the dollar, like inflation data. So that's going to be key. I believe that's Wednesday, PPI and core retail sales. So inflation data packed with the retail sales is going to be a key indicator of what the dollar is likely to do. So going to be trading in line with that, because if PPI come out lower than expected and things like that, we could see the dollar sell off more. So we'll have to see how things develop with that. But overall, just follow the technicals. The technicals is going to align, and the fundamentals, like data like that, is just going to increase the volume that we see. All right. So be on the lookout for that. We'll see how price hold here. Now, if price does continue to break down, let's say we're looking at the monthly. All right. This still can be a corrective play before a bigger move to the upside, possibly. Like, so price could come a little lower, maybe down here. All right, because it's still within structure. You see that? So even if it do pull down lower, yeah, where it's at currently, we see this is price had a wick rejection. This was also a top, the price fell. All right, but if it falls down further, I will be looking at, like, if it breaks below here, I'll be looking at price to come back down towards this structure level. All right, and that can also possibly be a level where it bounced from. All right, but if it was to break below that, then you could look for that to possibly go even lower. All right, so we just got to play it by ear. Just really just allow price to show his hand and just follow structure. All right. So now looking at some of these yen pairs, looking at this on a weekly. All right, price had we got a strong bearish close here on the weekly. Right, nice bearish close, nice bearish rejection. All right, so judging based off of that, look at this. I could take our trend line. Right. So you see here on the weekly, we had a strong impulsive breakdown. The price gave us this pullback and retest, and then we had a rejection. All right. So going into this week, I'm still bearish. If we look to the left, where price also broke below, this is a key point of supply in the past right here. All right. Strong level where price had a big sell-off. So price is now closing below that. All right. We could possibly see price come back and retest that before continuing. That's a possibility. But if we look at this doing a top-down analysis, looking at this on the daily, all right, we see here we're closing below. We closed below that level clearly. All right, in the past, this was a level of resistance. It was support here. All right, so now this is closing below. So we see price close back below a level of structure like this. That's a good sign that we could likely see price continue. All right, so now before I look for any more sales, I would like to see some type of pullback. Looking at this on the 4-hour. All right. So just look for price to correct. All right. On the 4-hour, I mean, the next level structure wise, ideally would be somewhere roughly in here, and seeing price continue. So we could possibly see something like that. If I'm selling this, I would like to see price stay below this daily candle. So possibly that pullback of structure and look for the continuation, something along those lines. All right. If I look at this on a smaller time frame, like on a 1 hour, this could possibly still just pull back within here and just continue as well. All right, levels like this, right? That could be a possibility. All right, so for me, I likely will wait until the Monday daily candle close before I look to continue to short any of these pairs on JPY, because I want to see price, let price warm up going into the week, because price could just come out on fire and just continue to just go heavy, because we're still trading within this range. You see right here, we still got this low. Excuse me, we still got this low down here. All right. Because looking at that, what price did is it came to this same level of supply that it fell before, made that low. It pulled back up, had a nice rejection, and you see now we're coming back down. So I'm expecting the price to at least come back down to this low, 137.5. All right. So with that, we'll just see how price develop, look for price to pull back and continue. All right, all JPY was also a nice setup. I did give this out in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, I send this out, send out the trades. You can see as well. I gave this out here. I gave this out here in the Discord. All JPY, TP3 was hit for 160 pips, and it actually moved even further than that. All right, so hold on, I'm not sure. Excuse me, I'm not sure if my screen is showing there, but you can see right here, all JPY, TP3 was hit, 160 pips. All right, so I give out the exact trades, but not just that. I want to make sure everyone understands the mind behind why I take certain trades. All right. So with that, you can see here, price retested this strong level of structure, previous level of demand or support, where price broke below here, came back. Now you look ideally for a structure retest, some type of pullback structure. And now we see price continuing and had a strong rejection. So that's what we were able to catch. Nice bearish close on the weekly. Go down to the daily also. You see up here, price formed a bearish engulfing, then it continued to drop. So I am looking for this to fall down further, back down towards these lows. All right, let's go down to the 4-hour chart. All right, so I was able to spot this out and see, this is our last lower high area here, right here. All right, so price basically came and retested around there. It retested that structure of supply. All right, where price had a big fall in the past. Some will call this an order block, but supply and demand, it's all the same thing, right? So we can see initially when I saw price come up, and I was able to see the correlation, how JPY was setting up for that strength all across the board. So I'll just use that for added influence. I saw price form an initial rejection here on this pullback and rejection right here. This pullback rejection, I was entering around here. You see price gave a bearish engulfing there, and we just continued down. All right, so you just look for sales around here, stop loss above the high, and you ride this down. So that alone was over a 1 to 3 risk to reward. All right, price dropped, over 200, about 250 pips or more. All right, so now going into this week, I still am bearish. All right, so now it's just looking for some type of correction. All right, looking for price to correct and then continue. All right, ideally, an area like this will be like an ideal level of structure. All right, like previous structure support. So if price was to pull up in there, that would be an ideal level, roughly around 89.7, 89.8 in there, and then possibly look for price to continue, at least to come back down to this low, but really ideally looking at this low that it made there. So this is the big range, and we're looking to still trade within this. All right, and with that retest of structure, stop loss would be above. So my stop loss will go above that daily candle structure. If we get the ideal retest, that's what I would look for. All right, because for me, the style I trade, if you've been following me enough, I like to catch the daily swings. That's why I trade based off the higher time frame, the daily, the 4-hour, and I love to catch those daily moves. All right, so that's all JPY. All right, GJ, Also had a nice move all across the board. You know, you can look at all JPY pairs and you can see everything. JPY was gaining strength against all pairs or all currencies. All right, so we can see here on the weekly, we got a strong bearish close as well. All right. Now with that, we can see price came up, had a strong rejection. So now when I'm looking at GJ, I'm looking at it on the lines of we are at a strong level of support or a strong level of demand. All right, because we look to the left in the past, this was a strong level, even here, big pump. So this is a level that price could find some support. All right. Now, of course, if it was to break this level, then that's more of an indication to look to continue to ride that down. All right. But before that, we likely would get some type of pullback to start the week, possibly. All right. So I would say look for something like that. With this, this was just such straight drop. Don't have much structure right here that I would ideally look for. You know, a less price was to give a real bigger pullback, you know, and pull back maybe into these levels and things like that. But you know, the chances of the price pull back that deep, then price is probably going to pull back even deeper, you know, and have a deeper pullback before any more sells. All right, so we just got to play about what price shows, price showing his hand, you know, look for price to possibly pull up and continue or break this level and just continue down, right? All right, so looking at UJ, USD JPY, same thing. Had a continued sell. All right. And you see right here, price broke. If you look at this on the weekly, price is breaking this level of structure. Looking to the left, this was a level of demand, had a big pump. All right. Now here on the weekly, we got a bearish engulfing, closing below that level. Now, if you look to the left, we are roughly coming into this level of demand, though. All right. So this is a point that you want to be careful. Price could continue, could pump from here or give a strong reaction from here, as well as with the PPI and the USD news. So you got to be careful at this level. But I still like the price to potentially set up for another drop. But before that happens, you could see price. We could see price pull up some first. All right. So if price wanted to give another drop, look at here on the 4-hour, and I always look probably roughly around here. All right, because from a 4-hour perspective, this will be roughly around my lower high before price continue there. All right, so look for some type of pull into this level. All right, which still is over 100, about 100, 115 pip pullback. And then possibly if we get a rejection there, that could be another setup for another wave. Now, price breaks above that, then yeah, expect price to come up higher. All right, expect price to come up higher because by looking at this at the weekly, you know, it could definitely come back and retest structure, right? Roughly around 131 before price giving any more drop. All right. So just keep that in mind with you, Jay. And, you know, just allow price to come to us and we just react to what we see. CAD JPY, same thing. Also this week, we do have some CPI news with CAD, I believe on Tuesday. Yes, on Tuesday, CPI. All right. So now looking at this level, we have a level of demand right here, pump up. All right. Now right here, price broke down. All right. Had a break below this level. With that, after that, price retested. So on the retest is where you look for your entries. All right. You see here on the weekly, we got a bearish engulfing. So that's a good sign that the sellers are still in control. In the daily on that retest, price formed a bearish engulfing. All right. So you had the opportunity there. And if I look at this, go back to the weekly real quick. Or let me see. Yeah, the weekly. You know, I could draw a trend line here. And I could see not only did it break that structure, we broke this trend line. And we came back and retested it and rejected. All right. So that's just added confluence. So seeing that, you would have been looking for your sales. And boom, we had this breakdown here. All right. So price broke down here. Let's say if you missed that initial breakdown because it didn't give too many pullback opportunities, but you say when price broke below here, this is a level of structure here. All right. So breaking below there is even stronger indication. We broke below there and then price retested here. That was the retest opportunity. All right. So you could have been entering on that retest. Nice bearish close. And then you see it pulled back some after that. You could have still looked to catch it on that slight pullback. Stop loss above this retest. And nice move. That alone was a 1 to 5 risk to reward. All right. So those are the type of setups you look to catch. So now moving forward, this price completed. It came right back down to the same low. All right, the same low that from this level. We tested this level. That's what price was doing. Hold on. It was retesting this same level here. Same level of supply, and boom, we had a breakdown, came to that same level and reached that low, slightly broke below it. So now moving forward, with the bearish engulfer on the weekly, we can still look for price to continue. But first, look for some type of pullback. All right. Some type of pullback. So same thing, like, look for maybe some type of 4-hour correction. Look for price to break down. All right. But this is so much drop here. So we have to see how it develops. If price want to hold below this daily candle moving forward. And then look at that GU, dollar bearish. So you see GU came down, found some support. Looking to the left, this is a major level of demand structure I have drawn up. So what price did, came down here, wicked away from that level. And you see here on the weekly, it got a strong bullish close. All right. So before any potential sell, to me, I would expect, or I'm looking for GU to possibly continue up. All right. And on this continuation up, price can potentially continue up to this high. All right. Before I look for any sales, I would look for price to potentially reach into this high. You see, we broke back above, all right, on this pullback, possibly give us another wave up. And then at this high, look for some type of bearish reaction. If we get the bearish price action I like to see, then I'll look for a potential wave back down. And then looking at EU, lastly, EU here on the weekly, you see we had a strong bullish close. And if we look at where it's closing, looking at structure, we can look here. All right, one bit. All right, so there, looking at that level, you see here, looking to the left, this was a major level of demand. All right, after price broke that, it became a level of resistance. The price had a big wave down. Now on the weekly, price is closing above that with the bullish engulfing. All right, bullish engulfing close above that. So that's a sign that we possibly can see price continue to the upside. All right, continue to the upside. So this could possibly, possibly pull back first and then continue up. All right, so the next level I'll be looking at, I'll look at this on a daily. I'm really seeing it more clear on the weekly. The next level is roughly around here. Next level of structure I will pay attention to for price potentially to reach if it holds above this level. All right, but with that close on the weekly, dollar being bearish, let's say this pull on these pullbacks, it's possibly just setting up for continuation up. All right. To look for sales, I would need to see some type of break of structure or some type of sharp, impulsive sell-off, break below structure before I look to change bias to the bears. All right. You can also look at this. All right. I would need to see a sharp breakdown here, impulsive breakdown for me to say, okay, now I'll potentially look for shorts. All right. So those are the pairs on my watch list. I'm still heavily paying attention to JPY. And then, I'll keep my eyes on the dollar to see how things set up. And moving forward, if you are in the Discord, I will send out any signals or trades that I take that look like it's giving us the better chance or high probability. If you're in the free Telegram, I'll continue to send out updates and everything in there as well. And if you want to tap into the Discord, everything is in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hope you get value out of this. And let's continue to catch some pips. See y'all in the next one.